Huh? Yeah. It's funny, we've had 140 people register, and I said to myself, well, let's sit for 50, and I think there's like 25 of you here, so I guess that's going to be just perfect. The right people are here, isn't it true? Yeah, it is what it is. So we've got someone from Glasgow already. Where's everyone else from? Who's from actually born and raised in Brisbane? Yeah, 1, 2. Only 2. You live here, yeah. Hi, Chris. Nice to meet you. Very good. Hello, Chris.
Nice to meet you.
You too. How are you? That's good. That's good. Yeah, so super excited to be sharing this with you guys today. I'll turn this off actually. So I thought that since you guys are on time, I'll start talking. I know we've had a lot of text messages, people that are coming or other things or whatnot, but we'll start having a chat with you guys first and talk about it. So I'd like to ask, what sort of brought you along to today's event? I'd love to hear from a few people. What's the main thing that you'd like to get out of what we're talking about today? Yeah? You like that? Good, that's a good start. What brought us along? Pardon? All right, well, you can keep yours to you. What brought you along? What's exciting? What are you here to learn? Yeah.
Look, algorithms are online.
Yes.
So, and when I come across with this message, I thought I'm happy to go and listen because
Yeah.
I used to work for so long in some company in retail managers, and just recently I decided to resign, and I'm starting something on my own.
Nice.
So
this sounded interesting.
There's lots of opportunity, but sometimes like I'm saying, I'm open-minded. I'm happy to give information what will resonate with me.
I like it. Open-minded, one to those small. What brought you guys along? I'd love to hear. Everyone else. Hey.
I felt I'm missing.
Something you're missing.
Which is possibly, because I've been doing this for decades, I feel like.
Yeah.
And I've had mixed results. And, we're biohacking more and more now. And perhaps I am missing a step, or I don't know.
From New Zealand as well. Whereabouts?
All over the north.
I'm from Wellington. Hello.
Oh, okay.
Welcome.
I'm related too. No,
Got some more Kiwis. So, cool. Here's what a lot of people say to me when they come to this event, is that their current reality, where they are now, their current reality isn't their dream. It isn't their total dream come true desired reality. And that's what a lot of people say to me, because I have this talk. Hey guys, good to see you. And I'll start with the proper presentation and stuff soon. I'm just sort of having a chat. I know a lot of people got stuck in traffic and stuff. But is it true? Show of hands, how many people that's true for them? They came because they'd like their reality, what they're experiencing, to be something different than what they've already got. True? Yeah. Yeah, pretty much, right? And the secret, and I'll talk about this now since it's all sitting on your tables. I'll grab whoever this person is here. The secret is this. The secret is this. Okay. And I'll get into who I am and my story and everything else and talk you through it. But this is the secret. This is the secret. The secret is that tension seeks release. Tension seeks release. And a lot of us have got our tension in the wrong place. And this is really interesting, and I'll explain it today, how to actually create and to manifest. And I'll tell my story. I'll get the door closed as well. Harry, we'll close this door. We'll give him 5 minutes, and then I'm going to start properly. Pardon? And bring this sign in here. So I'm going to start properly in 5 minutes, but I want to make sure you guys hear this first. The biggest mistake that people make is they try to stay in their current reality and they try to heal this. So they say, I'd like to be here, and I'm here. And what they do is instead of just taking the action and moving towards what they want and creating what they want, they do something else. What do they do? Who's got some ideas? What do they do instead of taking the action towards what they want?
Self-sabotage.
What's that, sir?
Self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage, yeah. What else? Fall back into their old habits. What else?
Blame whole situation around.
Because here's the truth, is they're like this is their current reality, this is where they want to be, but then they have a past that's holding them back as well. And so what happens is I notice is people take one step forward, and if you take one step forward, there's more tension back to your past, right? And so then you take one step back, and one step forward, and one step back, and the same thing here. You've got your big goals, you go a little bit towards it, and then the tension decreases, you see? And so then the tension towards what you don't want increases, and you go back and forward, and back and forward, and back and forward. And I see people, a lot of times, it's so true, they've got just enough, but not abundance. Does this make sense? They're just above what they sense is good enough. Is it true? When it comes to love, when it comes to money, when it comes to their business, welcome. You're all good. We've got quite a few people late, about half. But that's okay. Isn't it true though? Who's felt that or experienced it or even seen it with others, that we make one step forward, one step back? Yeah? This is called an oscillating pattern. And an oscillating pattern is where you're stuck. And the truth is, it's all simple. There's natural laws everywhere, and I'm going to be talking you through that. But just let me ask you, who's felt that before? Who's felt that, right? You feel like, well, I move a little bit towards what I want, and then somehow I'm back to where I started. And then I move a little bit towards it, and somehow I'm back to where I started. Whether it's in their health goals, money goals, relationship goals, purpose, what they're supposed to be doing here, spirituality, whatever it is, they move one step forward, one step back. And here's the big thing that I want to make sure everyone gets from today, is you'll never see it in your life until you already be it. You'll never see it until you actually be it. Is it true? And so this is why I'm so passionate about what I'm talking about, is that until you become the person that has the reality that you want, you'll never have it. You get what you are. You have what you are right now. And so what happens is a lot of people stay back here at their original current reality, and then they try to create something from here. And what I did is I went and studied alchemy and, law of attraction, and went deep on it, everything that I could. Secret society stuff, went around the world. And about 4 years ago, I stopped teaching it. And I decided I wasn't going to teach it again until I'd created a huge amount of success. Because the truth that I see out there is there's a lot of people, and the only way they've ever made money is by selling books on how to make money. And so I went out there and I thought 4 years ago, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to be teaching or sharing anything, I'm going to apply it. And my wife, who you met out there, Harriet, and we created a $5 million digital marketing agency that works without us. So it means we do between $500,000 to $600,000 a month on average. And we created that business. We had it work without us. We put the staff everyone in place so we could come back and now teach what we already knew to be true back then. So it's very, very, very important what I'm going to be sharing with you today. It's allowed me to move from New Zealand to the UK, then to come here, which is I think is absolute paradise. We live down the Gold Coast, absolute paradise. Married to an amazing woman. What's that?
What made you want to teach it? What made you?
Well, people ask me that a lot, and in fact, I get a lot of comments on my video. Oh, where are you going to find blah blah? It's going to be a rip-off. It's going to be that. And here's what I always say: fish should swim, monkeys climb trees, birds should fly, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. You'll notice that as I teach it, there's no one else that teaches it like me. And this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So the answer to you is I can't not do this.
Yeah.
In fact, last night I presented on this in our masterclass. Tomorrow I've got another talk. Next week I'm in Sunny Coast presenting this. This is what I do. I don't know what I would do if I wasn't doing this. But yeah, really good question. And so that's why I'm here, to teach this with you and to share what I believe to be the truth and the missing piece. A few of you have said the missing piece because there's I like to call it hopium. There's a lot of people that like to sell hopium, but they sell hope, and it's addictive to people. They just want they want to make it really hopeful, but it's just not true. One of them that's just not true. You guys heard it about there. You've just got to manifest it. The law of attraction, people. Have you guys heard about this? You just got to sit somewhere and think it to be true, and it's going to come to you. Anyone read these books, right? And they have all sorts of big groups everywhere about it. It's interesting because I love a lot of what they say, but there's one thing that they miss. What is it that they miss?
You need to what towards that?
So even though you have the insight to see it, you know, you actually have to do something to feel it.
Here's what they miss, because I like that. It's true. Here's what they miss. There's no successful person that you can point to that did what they're saying. None of the artists did that. They had to paint it. None of the businesses just said they had to build the business. None of this. So there's this whole thing that they never say, that no one's actually ever done that. No one. There's no simple person. Even the ones that go do it, what are they doing? They're standing there presenting and talking and doing something. Does that make sense? And so by their actions, you can see that something's missed in what they're saying. Is it true?
Yes.
It's true. So I'm going to talk about some of those different things, but we will get started. I think we will get started. Isn't that funny? 130 people registered and you guys show up. But I'm glad that you guys are here, otherwise I'll be talking to just myself. So today I want to talk to you guys about something that I think is the most important thing on the planet, which is how to magically manifest what you desire. True? It's the most important skill, and it bugs me that we're not taught it. We're not taught how to actually create. Education's a really interesting thing. Now, you guys understand that education, the way that we have it now, it's only been around about 100 years. Is that true? It's only been maybe 100 and a little bit longer than that. Before that, only the richest people on the planet were educated. Right? Like only the rich, only the wealthy, the upper class got educated. What did they use to educate on? In the Renaissance period, when the education was only given to the wealthy, what did they actually teach? Pardon? Art's part of it. What did they teach? Because most people were illiterate. Remember that. What did they teach? They taught alchemy. They taught creation. They taught intuition. They taught manifestation. That's why they were all artists and poets and musicians. They taught how to truly create, how to take something from your mind and turn it into a beautiful song, how to take something and write something that we still watch and listen and read today. Who thinks it's pretty amazing? But now what are we taught? We're taught something else. And I'll talk to you today about how I ended up sitting in a room with the 12 richest families of Austin, Texas, 3 billionaires in the room, asking them the truth of how to actually create something big. So let me ask you guys excited for today? Yeah? I'm going to cover a lot. And if you haven't figured it out, I move really fast. So my goal is to show you the science and techniques you must understand to change your attraction point, and how understanding the structural tension identity system, which is something I was shown by a billionaire, that tension seeks release. We always, actually write this one down, first thing, we always take the path of least resistance. Isn't it true? We always take the path of least resistance. Everything in nature will always take the path of least resistance. Who agrees with that? You see water going down a mountain? It's going to take the path of least resistance. True? In fact, where I'm from, New Zealand, we have these roads that go like this. And if you actually study the history of why they do that, well, what happened is when, horse and cart finally turned up in New Zealand, where did they take the horse and cart? They just followed where the animals had gone. True, they took the path of least resistance. So then horse and cart turned into what? Roads. And so what did the roads do? Well, they just followed where the carts were. And the horses were, which just followed where the animals were to start with. Does that make sense? So now we drive on these roads, and it's actually way smarter just to go this way. But because the animals didn't want to go over that mountain, or they wanted to go around here to the water, that's the way we go. Isn't that interesting? We take the path of least resistance. And that's the truth. It's one of the true things that we miss in creation. And so I'm going to talk to you about that today so you can make the shift. It's for you if you're an aspirational person. Who's aspirational here, by the way? Who's looking to aspire to get more? Show of hands. Because only an aspirational person that will take themselves on to learn something new. Only an aspirational person, someone who wants to get more, will come here and take on something new, because I promise you it's going to be different than what you've heard before. Because they do not teach it. In fact, for the women in this room, there are secret societies that I was only able to go to and learn because I'm male. There's these societies. I've lived in the States for 3 years. I went to these places, I talked to these people. and they share different things. They don't even tell women what's in there. It's ridiculous. I promise you, it's ridiculous. And so I've gone into these and learned all these things and applied it. And so anyway, we're going to go into some of those things as well. So, is it true gravity exists? Yes? We all get it. Now, inside gravity, we also know that we can fly in an airplane. So even though this is a law, it's a law, true? Gravity is a law. What else is in there? Lift. So even though gravity is true, there can also be another law that is true. Does that make sense? Because I can fly on a plane, so I can lift past gravity. So the law of lift, we would say, supersedes the law of gravity. Yes. So here's what's true. Is hard work exists and it's superseded by something bigger. And this is what we must understand. Isn't it true? There's no one out there that has gone and created something without doing the work. They have to do it, right? But you cannot grow a life of abundance planting seeds of scarcity. You can't grow a life of love planting seeds of loneliness. You can't. True? It's a law. If you take the same, if people say to me, hey Chris, the law of attraction doesn't work. I say, well, you take that piece of ground there and you put carrot seeds in there and you put a plum core and then you put an apple seed and you put something else in the same soil. What's going to happen? From the same soil, the same nutrients, the same water, right next to each other, different things are going to grow. True? They're going to attract different things. And you can look at those two different fruit and what do they have? They have different nutrients in them, but from the same soil. Who's with me on that? You can't deny that they're both attracted what it is that they are. Right? You can't deny that. And that's what we've got to understand, is that we're that seed planting into the universe. True? That's some of the big things that we'll go into today. So first I'll let you know I appreciate you, and even more today. I really appreciate you. I already got asked it once. This is what I always said to myself that I would do. So that's why it's free. Thanks for being here. And it's my absolute pleasure to share things that have made a massive, massive difference to me, to my wife, to people I care about. And yeah, thanks for being here. I really, really appreciate you guys. I appreciate your energy. I will be giving you actionable steps tonight. We will be doing a live demo. You will learn something that's going to change your life, I hope, forever. I also will, for those of you, let you know, how many of you think that I might have something that you could buy or something that I might offer today? Anyone got that sneaking suspicion? Show of hands. Yeah? I won't let you down. I do have a 90-day program. I do have a 12-month program. And however, I'll only be talking about it to people that want to hear about it. So I'll say, hey, if you want to hear about it, stick around and talk to you. And if you don't want to hear about it, then you can shake my hand and I'll see you next time. Does that sound good? So there'll be absolutely no pressure. I want to teach you and tell you a lot of things first. Does that sound good? That is a great program for those who do desire to go even further and truly transform over 12 months. Does that sound okay? Just so you all know that you'll know when that's happening. I'll do a powerful demo, but my question is, can you give me your all tonight? Yeah, can you be here with me? We've got a super small crowd today, and I'd just love for you guys to be with me on this so I can make sure I give you the best. Does that sound good? Are you sure? Brisbane's always fun. Welcome.
Sorry, thank you.
Good to see you, man. So here's my question. Have you ever wondered why some people break through and others don't? Have you ever thought that, you can see two people in the exact same family. One succeeds, one doesn't. True? Two people in the same job, same friend group. One succeeds, one doesn't. Have you ever asked why? Ever thought, why is that? Why is it that you see this person be successful and create something big and not this person? Because it's not talent usually.
Belief systems.
Sometimes, yeah, it's belief systems. But have you ever thought that, right? Why? And why would this person not just change their belief systems and succeed as well? Why? Today I want to use a metaphor of money for us to really understand this concept. Just so I can check, is there anyone in the room that's got more than enough money doesn't need any more at all. It's complete. Anyone here that's like, I've got more than enough. Because I always have someone say, no, Chris, no, I'm not interested in making any more money. And I go, that's all right, choose something else. I need to pick one of them, so the main ones are either money, health, relationships, or purpose in life. I have to pick something to be the core metaphor for tonight. Is that okay? Mm-hmm. Not because I'm trying to say money's any more or less important than anything else, it's just a thing. So if you hear me talking about money and you're like, hey, I don't actually care about manifesting more money at this current point, then you just substitute that out to whatever it is that you're looking for. Does that sound good? Mm-hmm. The way we do anything is usually the way we do everything, so I can have any metaphor for you to understand your way of being. Does that sound good?
Yep.
So, here's the question. Why do you not have everything that you desire? Personal question, don't have to shout it out. But I want you to take a moment. Sabotage, come from here. Why do you not? Sabotage. But take a moment. Why is it that someone as talented as you, that's been on the planet this long, with these opportunities, why is it true that you haven't created everything that you want? You know, why? Why don't you have it? What's your reason? I'll talk through, there's about 7 reasons that people normally have. There's about 7, yeah. Normally someone will say something like this, hey, well Chris, I'm not good enough. You know, I'm not good enough to have it. I haven't done enough. Another one, there'll be something around, I'm not worthy to have it. I don't deserve it. Some people say to me, hey Chris, I didn't get things right, I made mistakes. I've made this. Other people say to me, you know, I'm this, I'm that. There's about 7, I'll cover it. But the question you want to ask yourself for you is, what's true for you? What's true for you? Because here's what I know is true. Is there's no good reason. There's no good reason. There's no good reason. The one problem is this, is that you're out of emotional alignment. So let me ask a few of you, what would having more money, how would that feel? Let's say small amount, let's go, you make an extra $500,000 this year. How would you feel, by the way, who'd like to make an extra $500,000 this year as a metaphor? Okay, question, some of you, I want you to shout it out. How would you feel if that was true? How would you feel? Pardon? How would you feel?
Isn't it that you don't know how to feel it because you don't know how to feel it?
Well, that's a good question, but how would you feel if you did have it?
Untouchable.
Untouchable, because you're going to get in a set. What else? Untouchable, what else?
Excited.
Satisfied.
Grateful.
Freedom to
Freedom.
do.
Grateful.
You want to give back.
Give back. So, how do you feel in your current reality now? When you think about the area of life, money, how do you feel in your current reality in relation to money now?
No respect.
No respect? What else?
Stuck.
Not enough.
What else? Not enough, stuck, frustrated,
Fear.
fear? Okay, so frustrated, fear, not enough, stuck. So here's the thing. How can someone who for 20, 30, 40 or 50 years, who's reinforcing these emotions, how could they ever be this person? What would have to happen in order for them to get this?
Mindset change.
That's what we think. That's what we think, but it's deeper. It's deeper. That's what a lot of people will tell you, by the way. What
I
is
think it's a package of everything.
package of
Mindset,
everything?
Actions, belief.
Here's what has to happen. I want you guys to get this. Your whole identity has to die. Because you've spent a lifetime reinforcing these emotions. So what is the number one goal of the body, of the unconscious, subconscious brain? What do you think it is? It's the number one goal.
Feeling worthy.
Could-
Feeling worthy and
Could be. The number one goal of the subconscious.
Well, keep you safe.
Keeping you surviving, keeping you safe, keeping you alive. True? That's the number one goal, survival of the unconscious brain. So let me ask you this. If it spent 30 years in not enough, stuck, fear, scarcity, does it believe that this is survivable? Does it? Yes, it does, because you're breathing. But our conscious brain, who answered that, no, it doesn't think it's survivable. Yes, it does, because you're here. Yes, it does. No matter how painful it is, all of the pain is less than the pain of trying something that's not survivable. Does this make sense? Your subconscious hasn't experienced living in freedom. So this is risky to the subconscious brain.
So it identifies it as fear, do you think?
Here's what happens, is we have a current reality and we reinforce it for a certain amount of time. So what happens? It becomes survived. This happens with the amount of emotional abuse, the amount of love that we're able to receive, the amount of confidence we have, the amount of money we have. But this becomes who we are. Is it true? Yes? Who's getting this, by the way? Show of hands, who's getting this? This becomes us. So even if we fluke this and we somehow come across the lottery, find the love of our life, something we fluke it. If we've spent the whole lifetime thinking we're not deserving love, and then the perfect love shows up, we'll find a way to make it not work. Because this is us. And it's not conscious. It's the unconscious. And so here's why I'm so passionate about this. You must be it to see it. That's what tonight's about. I am so fed up to hear with the amount of people that will tell you, you can be here, and go to a weekend course, change your brain a little bit, do a meditation, you're there. You kidding me? You're going to overcome the whole subconscious survival facility, and in a weekend you're going to pop out and get the love of your life, right? True? Isn't it ridiculous when you think about it? But isn't that what is out there? You read the books, and they say yes. And that's why I said to this amazing lady here, I said, mindset. I hear that out there all the time, but it's just not true. You will never see it until you be it. And we're out of emotional alignment with it. So if I have a relationship, we want to be in a relationship where we have love and care and support, but we go around thinking I'm not good enough and that no one will love me and I'm this and I'm that. We can't have it. We can't have it. Because even if we were to have it, it's in direct violation of our identity. And that's what's safe. And so what happens is we find ways to get back there, but it doesn't look logical. We find ways to make the wrong decision. We find ways to sabotage, not do something right, forget this, do that, get in the wrong relationship, the wrong partnership. We find ways to get back to here. Or we stay in that relationship, and even though we're in it, we still find a way to be unworthy and unloved. True? Or we get lots of money and we still find a way to not feel rich. True? I see a lot of people, and actually you see them, they end up taking their own life a lot of times, right? They've got all the fame, they've got everything else, they did it, but they didn't internally shift. Does this make sense? This is the missing piece. What you want is actually how you feel. Now, who's already enjoying tonight, by the way? Getting lots out of it? Who's liking them straight into it? That's good. The interesting thing to me is there's one thing we have control over, and that's how we feel. True? That's what we actually have control over. So the fast way to manifest what you want is to first create who that person is that has it. That's the fast way. But everyone thinks the fast way is to go for what you want here, and then it's going to change you. And it will never work. I'll prove it to you tonight. So let me tell you a little bit about me. I'm a 2 times best-selling author. I've got a couple of my books here. And I've also got the 3 people that I recommend, my top 3 mentors, Colette Stryker, William Whitecloud, and Dr. Joe Dispenza, who I've had spent so much time with. I'm so lucky to have personal relationships and be connected with these amazing people that shared some things with me. I can't share the billionaires and some of the other things, but people always ask me, what books should I read, what should I do? And those are them. I manifest the love of my life. You've met her. She's outside. She's amazing. I've lived and worked from over a dozen countries, spoken to over 100,000 people in live audiences. I'm a first-generation millionaire, which means I'm the first one in my line that overcame that barrier, and I'm very proud of it. I lived a life of freedom, do what matters most, and I built my digital marketing company up to over $5 million. And here's what I want to say to you is I don't know it all. I don't know how to be parents like you. I haven't been on the planet as long as you. I don't know, health strategies, marriage strategies. I don't know a lot of things, and I want you to get that. I really don't. There's one thing that I really do know, and that's how to create. How to actually create a life you want. I've taught it to over 100,000 people, and I'm going to be teaching to you guys in one of the smallest intimate rooms I've had in a long time, which is really cool. So I'm grateful for that as well. And I want to let you know I'm here just to coach and to share that with you, nothing else. Is that fair? I could sit in your seminar and learn a heck of a lot from all of you, but this is what I know. So is it all right if you guys give me energy, all right for me to coach you on just this one thing? Is that okay? Mm-hmm. All right. Cool.
Is it okay if I ask you a question?
Yeah, what is it?
One of the things that you haven't mentioned so far is values.
Yes, write that question down. There'll be some questions that make sense to answer and some I'm going to cover in the presentation. Because we're only in the first sort of 3 to 10 minutes. I don't even know how long I've been talking, but I've got a lot to cover. Does that sound good? Cool. So for me, it wasn't always this way. I grew up middle class, following society's rules. I went to university, got myself a job, and I got stuck in that. And I was wanting. So here I am back in my current reality, and I'm wanting. I wanted to have more. And so I thought I'd start a business. I thought, heck, I'll go start a business, and I failed dramatically. I lost my money, my parents' money, didn't know what to do. This was me. That's me, then my real dreadlocks about 15 years ago now, in my 20s, and trying to figure out what life was about. And what I realized is the fastest way to get from where you are to where you want to be is to find someone at the end of that path. True? And whatever path you're looking for, find the person who's already been there. And that's what's true. So something really, really amazing happened to me. Around about 10 years ago, I met an amazing man. And he was running a $3 million restaurant and bar at the time, and he became my mentor. And he said this to me, and I'm going to say it to you. The path to creation is an inside game. It's not an outside game. You must create the private victory before you create the public victory. Everything happens inside. And that's what we shared. And so I thought, you know what, I'll get back on and I'll get out there, I'll start another company. I'll keep going. I know what I'm here to do is to create something big, so I did. But who's done that before? Who's tried something and failed and then found themselves full of fear? Who's with me? Everyone else just succeeds in everything. Where are you guys? A lot of people say this to me. They say, but Chris, I've already tried. Not trying again doesn't solve that. True? So if you've tried and failed in a relationship or tried a business and failed, right? If you've tried to write a successful book and failed, or whatever it is, not going again doesn't solve that. True? And it was a big lesson that he told me. He said, hey, well, not doing it again doesn't solve that. It failed. Own it. Now let's go. Learn from it. Does that make sense? Because some of us need to just go, all right, it didn't work. But not doing anything doesn't solve that. And so I thought to myself, I could go again, and I'm just going to end up where I am, or I'm going to succeed, so there's no risk. Does that make sense? And some of you need to hear that, don't you? Some of you need to know you might have tried and failed. If you try again, the worst thing that can happen is what? You just right where you are right now. Right? So there is no point in not going again. There is no point Doesn't matter, the past is the past, it's time to move forward. Who's with me? So I started straight away and results were really slow. And I felt like I was battling myself. Has that happened to you? Where there's almost a civil war going on inside your brain? Yeah? I'll talk to you about that civil war today. To me, I saw others winning. I saw others that had an amazing marriage. They were fit and healthy and enjoying their life and doing all of these things. They had money, they were successful. And then there was me over here that couldn't get anything going. And I started going, there has to be something wrong with me. The first thing that I want to share with you that failed miserably and is a big misconception is goal setting. Goal setting does not work. Why doesn't it work? Well, let me first ask, who set a goal and then had to set the goal again, and then set the goal again, and you set the goal and then reduce the goal, change the goal? But we have this belief, change the goalpost, but we have this belief that goal setting is supposed to, it is the way. Why does goal setting not work?
I always got hung up on, I used to like doing it, because they always say, well,
But why does it not work?
think about the obstacles you're going to come up against. That's what.
Why doesn't it work? I'll challenge you guys. Why doesn't it work?
It's the same you.
Yeah.
When you set a goal, do you reinforce that you're already it or that you're not it?
You're going towards.
Which one? Do you reinforce that you're already it or that you're not it? Goal setting just reinforces that you are the current reality desiring to get somewhere else. Who's with me? It literally can't work. You're here, I want to go, it won't work for you. It won't. You reinforce that you're still in the current reality. Then people always go, well, I don't know enough. I need to learn more things. If you set the intention of needing to learn more things, are you reinforcing that you're already it or that you're not it? That you're not it. So people go to course after course and seminar and book after book, and I did. I've read all these books and gone to all these courses, and what happens? All of them just reinforce that they're not it by going there and needing to seek out that knowledge. True? Then, the big one that I see everywhere, and the only people that tell you it are the ones that are addicted to keep on going to the next course after course, you've got to do the inner work. They say in order for you to achieve anything you want, you've got to do the inner work. So I did Ho'oponopono and NLP and EFT and Matrix Energetics. I went to courses, I went vegan, then I was vegetarian, I ate with my fingers, I did meditate, did all of these things, right? Psycho-cybernetics, I was like obsessed. But let's just reason this for a moment. What they're essentially saying is you're going to heal your current reality, and by healing it, somehow you're going to pop out of it and magically end up in a new identity. It's literally crazy. But the ones telling you, guess what they keep doing? Well, a coach has a coach. Who has a coach? Who else has a coach? And I do a healing after a healing. What it does, and I need you to get this one because I feel like it's big for this room, is it resolves a way that they feel incomplete. So what they do, they say, we need to have a healing. You need to have a therapy. You need to go to this thing. Instead of just going and being that person, instead they go to the healing, they go to the therapy, they go to the course, and for a moment they feel better. I saw people back to go, oh, it's so true. For a moment they feel better. This reality now feels a little bit better. But what does that do to the tension? Does that increase the tension, or, well, now this reality just feels better? It actually decreases the tension going to what you want. We live in a society that doesn't like us having any sort of tension moving to what we want. It will do anything to avoid this feeling of not being where we want to be. Does that make sense? It'll give us drugs, go to counseling, go to this, feel okay in the current reality. And it screwed me up. Doesn't work. So I started saying, well, I've done all of this. I spent over $100,000, or actually a lot more, on doing all these courses and inner work and all these things. Starting to wonder, well, Donald Trump's an idiot. How's he made so much bloody money? I don't think he's done any inner work. I'm serious, and this was before he was the president. I was thinking this in 2011. I'm thinking, wait, something's not measuring up here. The people telling me to do the healing and go to the courses, their relationships bust up. There's a big one in the news at the moment that clearly didn't do all the right things along his journey. There's all that, but that's what they're talking about here. Yet, when I talk to the billionaires, the people over here, you know what? They never did that. And I'm using billionaires as an example because there's only 2,600 of them on the whole planet. They know how to create, true? Is it true? Like, that's a direct example of knowing how to create. And so there's this story of the monkeys that I'm sure some of you have heard, and I'll share it with you now. There were 5 monkeys put in a cage, and there was a ladder in the middle, and at the top of the ladder, they opened the top of the cage, they put some food. And so what do you think the monkeys did as soon as there's food with the ladder? They got on the ladder, they started climbing to get the food, right? And what the scientists did who were watching these monkeys, every time they went to climb to get the food, they would spray them with ice cold water. And so what would happen is eventually, if any monkey went anywhere close to this ladder, all the other monkeys would, get around and hit it and punch it and scream and claw at it, saying, basically, you're about to get us all frozen. Don't do that, please. So then they did something interesting. They changed out one of the monkeys. And they put a new one in. What do you think happened with that first new monkey?
He climbed. Yeah.
He went straight for it, right? Why wouldn't you? There's a ladder, there's the food you want at the top, went straight for it. What do you think all the other monkeys did as soon as that monkey went for it?
They're walking around.
That's right. They never froze that monkey with the cold water. So they replaced another one of the original monkeys. What was interesting is that first new monkey joined in on the beating when the next one went to the top. They replaced all the monkeys now. All 5 of them. There was not a single monkey in the cage that was ever frozen with the cold water. But what do you think kept happening? They kept on transferring. Then those monkeys had children. So now it's not even the ones that were in contact, they had children. And guess what those monkeys kept doing? When the ladder put any food, they could leave the cage open. It was an amazing study. And here's why. How many of us don't know why we do things? There's another funny story where there's a husband looks at his wife's made a roast meal, says, well, why do you cut off the ends? And his wife says, well, that's what my mother did. So goes to the grandmother, right? And says, why do you cut off both ends on your roast meal? The grandmother says, well, that's what my mother always did. So goes to the great grandmother and says, hey, why do you do that? She goes, well, I've just got a small pot. Just got a small pot. And it's interesting to me when I hear that, because how's it true for you? The things that we do, the things we believe. Like, here's something that I saw is, for some reason, money's untouchable, someone said, or it's scary, or it's this. Where the heck did that come from? True? Like, where? Like, how is that even real? Right? It has to. Where did it come from? It's because it's not reality. True? Where did it come from? One of the things we do in our 12-month process is we unplug you from some family conditioning. True? Because why is that even true? Why can't we all just have millions of dollars in our bank and have heaps of fun and do all that we love, Hayley? It's weird having the door at the front, isn't it?
It's so weird.
We never used this room before. But who's hearing me on this? Show of hands. Who's getting it? Where does that even come from? It's not like we consciously decided that was the way to be, is it?
It's taught that as we've grown up, haven't we?
From some monkey, but it's not their fault. Where did they get it from?
Yeah.
And where did they get it from? Because most of us don't realize that the monkeys that taught the monkeys that taught the monkeys came from some really hard times. True? Really hard times. You think about your lineage of what's been passed down. They say between 0 and 4 is the imprint period, right? That's when we learn everything. It's in your DNA and it's passed down. one of my mentors that I'll talk to you about in a second, she said to me, there's never been a president of the United States, and it's actually so relevant now, that has an emotional age above the age of 4. Because that's where all of our emotional age is. I think that's interesting. Bert Hellinger studied this. He said we have 7 generations of DNA patterning. 7 generations. And you just think about where yours came from, right? It's a big thing to think about. So I did all this work on myself, and I started to realize that I saw the same people at all the seminars. I'm doing all this work, learning all these things, taking all these certificates, looking at the person up in the front of the stage, and I started to realize that there was something missing. And I even started teaching it. And here's what I really discovered when I started studying neuroscience and epigenetics. Who likes science, by the way? I'm going to go through it really quickly and in a way that you guys will just get, because it's important for you to get a few learnings, okay? So we think thoughts, yeah? We all know that. The thoughts are going to send a signal. Now you can all think of a thought, think of something, you could think of something that you feel guilty about. There's something you should have done, right? You could think about that right now. You could think about a sexual fantasy. You can think about what you've got to do tomorrow. You could think about something. What's going to happen is going to be a signal sent down to your body. That's going to be received by your cell, and that cell through many processes, but an end result is that it turns into a feeling. Who's experienced this in their life before? Who could do this right now? You could think something and turn it into a feeling, yes? Now here's what's interesting. Your cell actually changes and becomes addicted to receive that signal. When I studied with Joe Dispenza and he explained this to me in detail, I realized that you have a brain and then you have your body. Your body only gets the signal from your brain, not from the external environment, because it comes in through here and then down to your body, produces a feeling. What does the feeling then do? When the thought and the feeling align, what we then get is we get a decision, and the decision leads to an action. So, you're sitting at a bar and you're single. You see a beautiful person that you're attracted to on the other side of the room. You think to yourself, wow, look at them. Aren't they amazing? A signal gets sent to your body. If you feel unworthy, the signal gets sent, what would it be like to date them? Or, wow, that's too good for me. Who knows what the signal is? Depending on how you feel, depending on what you think, what signal gets sent is what you feel. Or you might feel, wow, they're a nice person, I should go up and talk to them. That feeling then turns into a decision. So the person who thinks, wow, I should go up and talk to them, then takes that action. The person who feels that they're not good enough and scared, they don't. Same in business. We think I should make a cold call and make a sale. Who's in business, by the way? Show of hands who's got a business. Nice and high. Business owners. The amount of business owners I talk to who don't make enough money, and I say, you've got to ring more of your prospects, and then they think to themselves, if I ring them, what happens if I get rejected? That then it goes into the feeling, it goes here. But why would they choose that feeling? Why do they choose that feeling? Pardon? Conditioning. We are literally, come on, Paul. This is Paul, 19 weeks pregnant, yeah? Yay. She's on our team for a very short time.
Countdown.
But who's getting this? We end up addicted to certain feelings. And when we don't have those feelings present, our body goes searching for them. Does that make sense? It goes searching for them. And that leads to our action. We become addicted to our current reality. And anything that's in conflict with your current reality will be stressful, will be scary, overwhelming. Can't have that. What other stories do we make up?
rules in our head, don't we?
All
All
sorts.
silly rules.
They're just yours. They're just what they are. See, it's so true. We can all have everything that we desire except for the story that we tell ourselves, right? However, it's not so easy as just saying, well, just tell yourself another story. Because what are you trying to overcome? This is what I learned. I'm not just overcoming my thinking. What am I really trying to overcome? An addicted body. A body, and for me, I'll tell you, I literally was addicted to not feeling good enough. I promise you, I could feel not good enough like that. I could feel like I needed to prove myself. I could feel it on autopilot. And if you look back over your life, what are the conditions that you've trained your body to seek out? Unworthy, not good enough, doesn't deserve. And this is what I hear constantly, isn't it true? That's what so we can never be that. And so what happened to me is I learned this stuff, and I realized I was out of emotional alignment with what I wanted, and I went all in. I got a coach. I said, here you go. She was amazing. And her name's Colette. I put her book in. I worked with her every single day, and I realized that everything I was doing was reinforcing that I wasn't it. Does that make sense? The books I was reading, the courses I was going to, the healings I was doing, everything was reinforcing that I was that Chris. The dreadlocks, everything was that guy. But that guy can't have the $5 million business, the relationship he loves, working 2 or 3 days a week, having fun, doing what he wants, living in paradise. Couldn't have it. Does that make sense? Because he was unworthy, everything, all the other stories. So I had to literally give up who I was, and that's what I had to go through. And that's what I'm going to take you through today. Who's excited about this? Who's confronted by this? Everything you need to change is unconscious. Why is that true? Why is everything you need to change unconscious?
Because if you're conscious of it, you'd already changed it.
Yes. If you already knew, you would have already changed it. You've got a civil war going on between your conscious brain and your unconscious brain. Does that make sense? And it's not going away. Then I realized that structural tension was the missing piece. And if you're an engineer and you think like an engineer, you will understand that this needs one start point and one finish. And today we're going to set your life up to move in the direction that you want, because most people don't understand that we always seek the path of least resistance. We will always take the path of least resistance. So maybe we want to start a relationship, but it's easier to watch Netflix. We want to do this. We must understand that we'll always take the path of least resistance. I stepped into the end result, took aligned action, and I built a $4.5 million company. And I was so grateful when I built that. However, I then got the biggest test straight away. So that mentor that I found right at the beginning, I ended up building my business with him. This is him, by the way. This is Mark Deason, and he's an absolute legend. This is me in Bali with him here. He was 17 years older than me, 15 years older than me. That's me as a lion in early 20s, there's him there. And that's our last picture, 5th of March 2016. He's the one in the box. And he was killed in a motorcycle accident on the 3rd of March 2016. And he was in Bali, Indonesia, living the life, had a great business, and then he was killed. And it literally ripped me apart. My business went from $4.5 million to $300,000 in debt. I had 48 staff, 48 families that depended on me, and I was curled up in a ball, bawling my eyes out because my best friend, mentor, business partner was gone. And then I decided that the moment that I'm talking about right now would be the reason why he was taken away. I decided that because I'd lost it all, I wasn't going to have his family have to get into debt. I wasn't going to let any of our staff down. I was going to bounce back and I was going to find a way because I know how to create. And so I remember sitting there making the decision. My wife kicked my butt also, said, get up, you've got to make this happen. And I said to myself, I will prove this. I will prove it. And so what happened next is the first thing, and this is what you have to do, is you must decide the life that you want to create. So I decided everything. And there's 4 main things you must decide. What's going to make you fulfilled? What's your finances like? We're going to do this tonight, by the way. Your family and your fitness. Core 4. So I decided that, and I just said that's what it's going to be. And then I created a tension-releasing structure, which I'll talk about today. Because their lives matter, and that's what we're here for, true? And I know there's people in this room that have lost someone like I have, and we're here, and our job is to make sure that we're here to prove and make our life worth it. Because it's true, and I can see there's some people that's hit. I've now told it to thousands, so I can tell it and not have a reaction. But here's what I want you to know, is at some point, you'll be the one in the box. Isn't it true? Between now and then, it's your job to create what it is that you can create, because that is a definite. Who's with me? That's a definite. It doesn't matter what age you are, where you are, it's a definite, and it's time to create and to do what you want, and that's why you're here sitting in this seat. True? Because that's going to happen, and what you do, and you're being brave, and I appreciate it, what you do between now and then is what frickin' counts, right? Right?
Right.
That's what counts. That's why you're here, and that's what we need to create. That's what we need to create. So I decided that I'd unplug from my old identity. I literally said, you know what? Everything that I used to be, I'm not going to be that anymore. I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going all in on this. And I said to myself, I've now got to do this for 2, because I had him, now I didn't. I had to be Batman and Robin. I had to do both of them. So I said I'm going to be all of it. And I decided on being this so strongly, and I was so lucky that I had such a big kick from the universe. That this is it. This is who I am now, nothing else. I got rid of the whole thing. I reinforced my new identity through a daily program that I'm going to show you today, and I took action as this person, right from that moment, being this person. We did $1 million in 9 months. We kicked some butt. We kicked some butt. 2.1 in 12 months, and it's only been 3 years. And now we have a $5 million company. And so when I tell you that what I'm sharing with you today is the truth, I live, breathe, and own this, and it freaking saved my life. Last thing before we get into it. Through this, I met a billionaire, and this just topped it all off. And this self-made billionaire invited me to speak to some of his friends. And then he said these words to me, Chris, it's all vibration, thinking, and manifestation. You have to teach it. Because I'm sitting there telling this billionaire about it. I figured it out, structural tension. I was like, dude, it's like the water running down this. You just got to create tension. Most of the wrong tension. Tell him about the emotion, the end result. You can use epigenetics, these things. And this billionaire, self-made billionaire, looks at me and goes, you're right, that's it. And I met him through different places and societies, and then he goes, that's it. And I'll never forget, he goes, that's it. He goes, that's what you have to do. You have to teach that. And I don't know if it's ever happened to you when you realize why you're on this planet, but that was my moment. And so here's the thing. You must be in your future feeling now. But I want to check in with you guys. What have you learned so far? I want to get a few shares. What are you guys learning? Who's going to go first?
Letting go of your own identity.
Letting go of your old identity. I love it. Who else wants to share? What else are we learning? You guys are so loud.
You're just reinforcing what we're already learned.
Pardon?
You're just reinforcing what we're already learned.
Fantastic. But here's the thing. If you're here, there's still something that to create what you want.
Oh, well, I had an amazing epiphany this morning after listening to, I actually did
The belief flip meditation.
yeah. And you know, as my sister, I rang her and I was like,
It's a good meditation. Has anyone else done the belief flip meditation that I sent you? Just you guys in the back? Good. I sent you guys a whole heap of meditations, by the way. One of them's called the belief flip. You guys will get it as a USB as well. What else are you learning from all of the stuff you're getting from me then, not just tonight? What else are you learning?
Well, I'm starting to get the thing you're talking about. I'm not quite sure I'm getting it fully yet.
Oh.
So that's the one thing I feel is unfamiliar.
Yeah, nice. Structural tension. We'll go into it even more. You'll definitely get it. You're right, man. Well, who else is learning something and wants to share?
Well, you've got to just create a new identity
You do.
and picture where you want to be.
You do.
But you need a mentor on the way.
Yeah.
Someone to help guide you the right direction.
Well, you can be your own mentor, but you do need to plug into a new you. That's for sure. That's for sure. It is literally impossible to create your dream life by staying the same. Who's with me on that? You can't. And so my question to all of you is, who's willing to do it? Right? To let go of who you've been and step into who you are becoming. Because it's going to feel uncomfortable, it's going to feel different, it's going to feel new, it's going to require action. But here's the statement. I am truly satisfied with everything I have now, and I want more. That's when you truly get into the feeling of the end result. I notice the people that have the hardest time understanding this are people that need to have everything logical. But here's the truth. Your goal is attached to an emotion. When you have it, you're going to feel a certain way. Is that true? If you don't feel that emotion now, you can never have the goal. People say, yes, I can. No, you can't. Because you have to have a life in an alignment with who you are. Does this make sense? You have to. Because you can't have something, because you'd feel completely uncomfortable with it. See, when someone walks into my house or a big house with millions of dollars, it feels wrong to them. Let me ask you this question. If you were to get given $1 million right now in a box for no reason, for just no reason, someone gave it to you, said, here, how would you feel?
Fantastic. Very good.
And then what if they gave it to you the next day?
Fabulous.
And then the next day?
Absolutely amazing.
And how is that different to how you feel every day?
I think we say it would feel amazing. I don't think we really know how it will feel until we're. I mean, there's knowing and there's knowing.
That's because you're committed to a reality that says I have to know it before I can have it.
But sometimes you know things, okay, but until you actually deeply know things.
It's not true.
you
I'll
know
explain
it
why.
first. Okay.
Here's why it's not true. Here's a statement I hear a lot of people say to me. It's not what you said, but it's going to help you. They say, Chris, in order to make money, I have to feel abundant. I have to feel freedom. I have to get into the end result of that. Have you heard people say that?
And they say gratitude.
Yeah, and gratitude and all this stuff, yeah?
Why can't you just be the energy of abundance now?
You can, but here's the truth. You don't even have to be that. The only people that have to be that are ones that have set up a rule in their reality that says money equals abundance. See, I know people that money equals power. Money equals whatever it is that you want. That's the bit you're missing, is it's your decision. Money's not an energy. People say to me, by the way, I hear this right, well, Chris, isn't money an energy? Money's no freaking energy. Money is a measurement of providing value to other human beings in the way they want to pay for it. It measures it. It's not an energy, it's not alive, it's just as alive as a centimetre, a kilometre, a mile. It just measures something. And so my feedback to you is, you've just got to choose what it is and then feel that and attach it. Does that make sense? There's no right feeling for money. There's no right feeling. Who's with me? Show of hands who gets that, by the way. There's no right way. There's no feeling. There's no one said this is what you've got to feel to create money, because humans created money.
Okay, so if you've attached the label money equals power,
Yeah.
then you just got to feel powerful with that.
It's good.
So it's not good nor bad, it's just is.
This is the truth, and is that you've got to feel it now. So let me make sure we go deep on this. Is here where you are now, and then here's your future, and this has whatever it is you want to have. Maybe it's love, maybe it's money, whatever it is. And you're setting yourself up saying, I'm here and I want this. And this has a certain feeling. Let's call that feeling abundance. But let's call that feeling also power. Whatever it is that you choose, you must have it now. This is the whole key point of this slide. is whatever it is that you're choosing to create, you must feel it now. I'm truly satisfied with all that I have and I want more.
But if you, this is just a question based on what happened this morning, but if you have money equals power, but you're in a place where you're actually feeling powerless,
You're never going to attract it.
so then you go back and do the flip on the powerless.
There's a different meditation that we'd use for it.
Okay.
But yes, you would.
Yeah.
This is what we have to get. The now feeling must equal the future feeling. There's no right way. In fact, you could have money equal no feeling. You just have loads of it. Who's getting this? We've just set up certain realities.
Doesn't money just make you more of what you really are?
No, heck no.
No.
No. You are what you are, what you are. How could a measurement, sorry for swearing by the way, I don't normally, but I'm so passionate about this. Here's what's true, because someone says BS to you that says by having more in the bank account, you're going to become more of who you are. No, you're not.
No, I'm sorry. Can I clarify that, please? If you were a selfish person
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
and you were an ugly person, it would just make more of what you already are.
You're both reinforcing, but you're not getting it. It doesn't make you more of anything. You just have more of one thing. It's not connected. We've connected it. Who's getting a lot out tonight, by the way? I feel like I'm going into some deep stuff,
But
but
there's poor teachers out there, isn't there, in that case? Because I've heard that before too.
there is, and that's the truest statement I've heard from you tonight. There is a lot of people that will reinforce this. They will reinforce this. You're not different. This is what you've got to get. When I sat down with the billionaires, if they lost the money or made the money, exactly the same. Exactly the same. But it's the same with relationship. If they lost their relationship or had a great relationship, they're exactly the same. There is nothing external that's changing the way that they feel. What happens is the teachers who tell you that stuff, they've shown you their cards. They're saying, I can only feel abundant if I have money, and I am more with money. What does that say? It sets up the wrong tension, and they're only saying it because they're trying to create a buying situation.
But that's not what I've actually been taught. I've actually seen that.
That someone becomes more because they have money?
Yes. I've
No,
seen
they
the
don't
change.
become more. They're not
so
a...
you can clarify that for me, I'd appreciate it, because that's my experience.
Yeah, well, we can also disagree as well,
Yeah,
and that's
it's
fine.
okay.
But
It's
here's what's true. Just because someone has more money in the bank account doesn't make them more or less of a person. It doesn't change anything about who they are. It doesn't make them more. That's the thing. We've attached so much to it that we miss what it is we want. We miss it. We miss it.
We're placing restrictions on ourselves.
We are,
Well,
and
we want to
rules.
be restrictionless, but also become the infinity of ourselves.
Yeah. Now, what might be true is because maybe they weren't the best person, they might have gone and been able to be more seen as not being the best person.
Oh, that's probably what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
I think when I felt into it then, is you're talking about what's visible. And of course it's more visible because now they're spreading stuff, but they're still the same person. You're just seeing more of it everywhere. They're the same. And that's the key. And I want you to get this. You really must get this. Whether you have it or don't have it, you've got to feel the same. Because the second part of that question is, well, first was, if you get more money, how would you feel? How do you feel if it's taken away? All of it, everything you've got. How would you feel?
The same.
That's what you've got to get to. If you would get a lot of it, you're the same. If you get rid of it, you're the same. If you have the love of your life, you're the same. If you don't have the love of life, you're the same. One of the greatest examples of this is Roger Federer, the tennis player. He is the same dude. Thank you when he loses, when he wins, thank you. Often he then loses it emotionally, but he's the same. This is the key. We all are in this because we have external things creating how we feel, but it's not your fault. You've just been taught and programmed this our whole lives, haven't we? When you succeed, here's the gold medal. When you lose, well, do better. It's just not true creation. It's just not true. We must let go of trying to get somewhere or get away from something and create it now. Creation should be like, here's the menu, and I'm going to have the steak. Oh no, I'm just going to have the fish. And I'm still the same person. That's what it's like. I'm going to have $10 million, or I'm going to have 100 grand. That's all it should be. You're the same. You're the same. So let's keep moving, shall we? How's everyone feeling, by the way? Is this good stuff?
Yeah.
The big problem is that you're trying to create only to fix ways and problems in your current reality. I want you to hear this. When you say that your now reality is not good enough, and you're going to go to get here, and this will be better, you lose the game. You lose the game. No, this is very important to get familiar with gratitude. When you think that the now reality is less than where you're going, you will never get it because you're reinforcing that your life isn't good enough. It never happens. The truth is you must feel the good enough feelings now, and then it shows up. It's the reverse of everything we've been told. And they don't tell it to you. They think you can, they tell you you should set goals. Stay here, heal this, and you'll get there. Work on yourself. You're not good enough. It's not enough. That's going to be better. And I tell you this, you make $1 million, you still feel lousy. You get the love of your life, you still feel lousy. It doesn't end, and you don't want to keep it. So I created $1 million company 8 times because I was addicted to the feeling of striving. If you were to look around the core emotion of Chris Duncan his whole life, I played basketball for New Zealand, successful at university, always an achiever. I was addicted to striving. So if I ever got there, I was the most pissed off person on any holiday. I had to lose it to then strive again. Does that make sense?
It does.
So I would. We're going to have a break in about 15 minutes. What is the time, by the way? Really? That's ridiculously perfect. It's exactly 15 minutes and we're going to have our break. Your actions will create your results, but the emotion is what motivates your action. So here's the mistakes. You think that something external will make an internal difference. You think the money will make you feel different. You think the relationship will make you feel different, or the car will make you feel different. I remember buying a $10,000 suit and thinking, look how awesome I am wearing this. Within 6 months, it was just a suit that sat on the same floor that still went to the same dry cleaners. Who's ever had that experience with a car? Right? Get that experience with a new relationship, a new this, right? In the beginning, yeah! And then it's just the same thing. Because wherever you go, there you are. Take advice from broke people. It's a big problem. Broke, you don't take relationship advice from a single person. Let's continue as single. Don't take money advice from the person who doesn't have the financial abundance. Don't take weight loss advice from the overweight person. The first way that people stop themselves is they're not clear on what they really want. They just know what they don't want. Creation can't work that way. You can't say to yourself, I don't want to feel anger. Because all that happens, that's called the not problem. If you say, what I don't want is to feel poor. I don't want to feel poor. The brain goes, okay, so what should we feel then? There's no clear instruction. See? I don't want to be single. Our brain goes, well, what do you want to be then? Does this make sense? If you're only clear on what you don't want, which is what most of us are, you're not giving a clear instruction to what it is you do want. Does that make sense? Big mistake. I think I've already talked about this one. You cannot heal the current reality and expect it to change. In fact, I want you to hear this. Healing will keep you stuck more than anything. Because you'll just become accepting of the current reality. It will start to feel good. You won't move to what you want. You'll just be here, and then what has to happen? You're here, you're this person, so what do you have to do? You have to find a way to recreate that problem. You'll heal one, you'll find another, then that will be there. It's a massive mistake. This is law of attraction coaches. It's a huge mistake listening to law of attraction coaches. Because it is a law, you plant 2 seeds in the ground, they will both attract. It's true. It is a law. However, the law states that the loudest thing to the subconscious and to the ether is what? What's the loudest thing? Is it your thoughts? Is it your feelings? Is it your emotions? What's the loudest?
Desire.
Your emotion.
The action you take. See, think about this. Watch this. This is law of attraction. I'm a standing up person. I just stand up. I stand up. I can't wait to be a person that's standing up. And then you don't stand up. What's the true message to your subconscious? Right? That it's just a lie. True? There's that moment when you actually are it. Does this make sense? That's why it doesn't work, because the loudest isn't the emotion. The loudest is actually acting as though you are. But not as though, acting as you are. Does this make sense? It's one thing I do disagree with Joe on. The loudest is when you act it. True?
What if you can't find the right vehicle? Let's say you're searching for wealth. The right vehicle isn't around.
But the person who thinks that isn't this person. The person who thinks I can't find the right vehicle is the person that's standing over here. Going, I can't find the right vehicle because that statement says I'm not it. The separation has already happened. This person goes, there's a million vehicles around and that's the one I'm going to start with today. True? Does everyone get that? Is there any resistance on that one, by the way? Does everyone get it? The reason why you can't listen to what they say is they miss the key part to it, is that the loudest thing is actually the action. They tell 2/3 of it. Your thoughts need to be in alignment, emotions, but then if you don't actually do, you literally collapse anything you already did. Been to seminars, thousands of people, and they sit there, I'm a healthy person, I feel health, I'm a healthy person, I'm a healthy person. Then they get up, and what are they?
KFC.
Well, it's not that usually, but they don't eat the right food. Right? They don't do the right thing. They're not being the healthy person. They collapse it. Big mistake number 4 is we try to plan our way to the future. Think about this. If you stay here and I'm going to show you the opposite of how to do this today. You cannot stay in the current and plan your way forward. That's what you're doing. I'm going to stand here, I'm going to try to plan my way there. Alchemists do it differently. I'm going to take you through it today. Mistake number 5. Think something external dictates how you can feel. So if I have the money, if I have the relationship, I will feel different. Can't have it. You've got to feel it now. Mistake number 6. Hey, by the way, who would like to have a copy of my slides? Show of hands. Who would like a copy of these notes? Yeah. At the end, whatever. At the end, here's the deal. At the end, if you post a positive review onto my Facebook, I'll send you my notes. So there'll be a trade, but if you want the notes, at the end you have to say, hey, this is what I learned, it was great, and then I'll flick you the notes. Does it sound like a fair deal?
Yep.
Yes?
Yep.
So mistake number 6 is you're out of emotional alignment with what you desire. You're planting seeds of doubt to create confidence. And number 7 is you're not following through. You've always got to ask yourself this question. It's a big question. I'm going to give you some big questions to ask yourself today. What is my subconscious getting from my actions? I'm abundant, I'm abundant, I'm abundant. You open up the menu, the first thing you do is you look at the prices. I can't have that one, I can't have that one. True, your subconscious, you've just collapsed that you're abundant. You just collapsed it in that moment. So here's what we're going to cover after the break. The first thing, I'm going to go through the method to magically manifest everything you desire. We're going to go through neuroscience and how that works, and then we're going to do a live process, which you should all be super, super, super excited about. So, who's enjoying the evening so far? Is it good? So we'll have a short break, tea, coffee. What's the time? It should be 8 p.m. So we're 5 minutes early. Let's stay ahead of time. So if we have a 15-minute break, that means we're going to be back in our seats at
10 past 8.
10 past 8. Is everyone okay with that, to keep going? At 10 past 8, I'm going to start again. We'll go back through everything like that. So give yourself a break, bathroom, settle, and we'll start again at 10 past. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, see you then.